It's the Brain and Moham Show. It's the Brain and Moham Show. The Brain and Moham Show. It's the Brain and Moham Show. They say that it's against the law, and I smoke it like cigar every minute of the hour, for it's good for my mind. Marijuana, marijuana to my head.
What's going on? This is the Brain and Moham Show. I'm Muhammad El-Darwish.
And I am Brain Mountain.
And we're smoking a fat joint right now before we get this going.
We go way back smoking joints.
Yes. Joints are my preferred method, personally.
In fact, I recall one of the first times Muhammad smoked the weed.
Do you? Are you thinking of the one I'm thinking of?
It might have not been the exact first time. It was, I want to say it was our mutual friend's first time. Gerald apparently had smoked some Quaid with you, and later on you smoked some with
Yeah?
in the woods, and then
I don't remember this.
Then we all got in my van, and he freaked out when I was like, yeah, we're gonna drive over this cliff.
Oh, I don't remember that. You think I'd remember something like that?
I know you were there. It was early on in mine and your smoking days.
I thought you were going to talk about the time when I called him and I said I need to be picked up because I was too high. Like, I was so high that I thought my parents would see me and they'd immediately know, and then I'd get in trouble. So I was like, you have to come pick me up. He was like, all right, virgin lungs.
I don't recall that. I remember going to CVS and something about marshmallows and all kinds of crazy shit. Basically hilarious first time stoner shit, but maybe that wasn't your first time. Maybe that was our buddies.
Yeah, well, back then it was much more frowned upon. I think it was much different.
Very much more.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was just, we always had like the protests in like Amherst and Boston, all the weed fests where, because it was a protest, we were all legally able to smoke weed on the grounds that we were on for the protest. But yeah, it was always frowned upon.
Right. Well, we had to sneak around a lot, and we had to really be careful.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of like misunderstandings from a lot of people, a lot of different directions.
It was on the same grade as like acid and shit like that. It was class A drug or something.
Yeah. And I mean, these days I realize that I do it for the medicinal I do it for what the benefits. I smoke a little bit, kind of microdose,
right? Yeah,
to help me with the range of issues.
Weed it definitely helps me mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if
it's what it is. It's what it's for. I think it also helps you appreciate things better, which we spend our whole lives not appreciating what's around us truly.
Right,
a lot
exactly.
of times.
Yeah, there's plenty of times where smoke a joint and you just look at a tree, you think about its cellular structure, its trunk structure, its root structure, and not everybody thinks about that every time they look at a tree, but I do.
Yeah. So we had this idea about called Ask Mo Anything, AMA. Like Reddit AMAs, only it's Ask Moham Anything.
Ask Mo anything.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. What you got? You got anything?
What is I'm gonna go with a history kind of thing here. What is your opinion on LBJ before and after JFK's death?
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. So he was a Southern Democrat, like from Texas.
Yeah.
And that was probably joined the party back when it was a totally different party, when it meant something different. It was a racist type of party.
Right.
After JFK got assassinated, I mean, he took up the mantle of civil rights. I mean, he stepped up and he got that shit done.
Right.
But he also started a war in Vietnam. So there's a little bit of it's a cloudy, people look back, historians look back pretty favorably on LBJ for his ability to communicate with the public as well as convince people to work with him. He was very strong. He would grab people by them, twist their arms until they agreed, until they came around to the compromise.
I think of him as a very manly man.
Is it because of that thing where he's like, my bunghole down to my ball sack?
Well, it's that, but also just the way he was portrayed in certain ways. And
well, I mean, after the civil rights issue, after that passed, I'm pretty sure the parties switched. The Democrats became the Republicans, the Republicans became the Democrats, because the Republicans took up the Southern strategy of catering towards the whites in the South. If you compare it to today,
he would have been a Republican back then.
Yes, he would have been a Republican that turned into a Democrat.
Exactly. That's
because JFK was definitely a Democrat and he was the vice. Oh, you're okay. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm not really an expert on JFK. This era of.
I realize that. I just wanted.
That's my general impression there of LBJ.
What do you think about the most recent Kennedy being the first to lose in Massachusetts?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I almost know. I know very little about that.
Yeah, so I think I read somewhere that that was something that had to happen eventually, and that now that it's done, they can. It's like a burden is lifted off the family, off of everyone named Kennedy who's ever wants to run for office.
So, do you think that because that burden's been lifted, he's not gonna die in some weird way? Like the rest of his previous family.
Yeah,
that's somewhat of a joke question, but also serious.
Yeah,
like
the dead Kennedys.
Yeah, well, there's that, but also like they've all died in weird ass ways, right? Well,
JFK did, and Bobby Kennedy did, and those were very tragic.
Right.
Ted, I forget how he died. I honestly forget, but I remember all the memorials and stuff.
They tried to get the dead Kennedys to change their name one time.
To Ted's Next.
Well, no, they said you need to change your name, and they said the only way we're changing it is Ted's Next.
Ted's Next, which is, that's pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
Everyone dies. You can say
everyone dies.
Yeah, that's the thing is there's no bet. You'll never lose a bet if you're betting someone will eventually die.
Everybody dies, and I'm sure or certain families have a pattern. But they're a very famous, powerful family.
Right. But as you were saying about Joe Kennedy, I think he'll win his next election. He doesn't need to win the first time. He's pretty young. Markey deserved to win re-election. He's the most progressive senator, maybe, in the whole country.
Well, that's good.
Joe Kennedy is not as progressive, but he still seems like a pretty good, I don't know, senator, future senator, maybe.
Given some time, he'll change his views a bit. You think?
I'm not counting on that at all. It's more that he seems to me like he could probably be a strong choice to be our senator in the future after, say, Liz Warren becomes president or something.
Okay.
Or Treasury Secretary, whatever she's moving on to after this. Secretary of State, who knows?
Okay.
I think that would make Republicans' heads explode. But yeah, if she shouldn't be Secretary of State. There's plenty of other people more qualified.
Liz Warren?
Right, than Liz Warren to be Secretary of State.
Okay.
Liz Warren's more qualified to be Secretary of Treasury or something like that.
I honestly, I'm not knowledgeable about everything like that. You know what I mean? Which, I'm somewhat ashamed of, but at the same time, I got other things I think about.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Hit me with another a tough one.
What do you think about quantum entanglement?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. Okay. Okay, so I haven't really followed polls and are there any debates or anything going on? Is that not happening yet? Like,
Yeah, there's supposed to be 3 debates.
I mean, like Trump Biden debates. Like,
Yep.
Are those going on yet, or have they happened, or are they happening soon?
I feel like they're happening soon, next month or so.
What about like the polls that you know of? I'm sure Biden's ahead. And is there like a
They've tightened up a little bit.
is there like a country like all together poll, or is it just state polls?
There's been a lot of different polls. So there's swing state polls and national polls. So Biden's ahead by an average of, let's say, 7 right now. Nationally, maybe 8. Nationally, he's got a strong national lead. The problem is in the critical swing states, the lead's not as strong. It's more like a 4 or 5 point lead among swing states, and the polls after. So the conventions just happened, right? The Republican National Convention, the Democratic National Convention. Polls taken around this time were incredibly inconsistent. They're all over the place. Trump up in North Carolina, Biden's up in North Carolina. There was a poll where Trump's up 7 in Georgia, another poll where Biden's up 1 in Georgia. There's all the kinds of crazy shit going on.
So I guess it depends on who's taking the polls,
right,
and who they're going to.
Which is why I love this website called 538, which weights the polls based on their grade, which is their accuracy grade.
Okay.
So they weigh the poll based on that, and they adjust the poll based on their how off they usually are. So, and then they get an average of all the polls and in the last 30 days, and they give you this like accurate reading, and there's a 70% chance Biden's going to win, 30% chance he's going to lose, or 29%, whatever you want to say,
right,
percent chance he'll lose.
Another thing about polls, like, is it like the Republicans take a poll?
There's some Republican groups. There's some Democratic groups. So the Democratic groups are more about accuracy, and the Republicans seem to be more about making the polls look like they're winning, even though they're not.
Right, like so they go to more Republican areas.
Usually they use landlines.
Poll.
Yeah, that's how they do it. They use landlines.
But like, what I'm curious about is like if each group, if they think or have an idea that a certain area is gonna poll closer to their side, are they only polling what they think are Democratic areas or Republican areas?
It's actually extremely scientific. They're polling people, right? But they're asking a ton of questions about those people so that they can get everyone into a little like category,
Right.
And they're going to have more accurate measurements based on how many people of that category live in that state, and so on and so forth.
So the more people that take the poll, the more accurate it'll be, because it's, say Republicans are polling people and they go to a place where they know is mostly Republican, that the poll is going to show more Republican.
And that's why you got to look for pollsters with a high grade that are accurate. Monmouth,
and I use Republican as an example, but Democrats could do the same thing.
Yeah, so the Monmouth University poll is excellent. What is it called? The Des Moines Register is a really accurate poll. Seltzer & Co. is accurate. What's the other ones? Fox News gets an A-. They're pretty accurate. PPP, they get a B or a B+, something like that.
Now, is this accuracy based off of the numbers of people polled?
It's based off of the results versus the polling. Like if the polling was close to the actual results that happened.
Okay, so all right, so you poll, and then after you get the results, you can get the accuracy of the poll.
Yeah.
So what about like ongoing polls? How do you rate the accuracy of a poll that hasn't been?
You don't rate the accuracy of the poll. You rank the accuracy of the pollster. You have to look at all the work from the pollster and in the past and give them a grade, and that's what they do. They gave those individual grades to different pollsters, giving Monmouth A+, Siena A+, and then things that are like stupid, like Rasmussen and Trafalgar.
These are all things I've never heard, but
yeah, these are all different firms and universities.
This is why I ask you these things, because you know the answer.
Yeah, nerding the fuck out. But yeah, seriously, we need to pretend like we're losing. Michael Moore, he's always saying the same thing. He's like, President Romney, start saying it. Start saying President Romney, because that's what you're going to be saying if you don't go vote. And then he said the same thing last year. He said Trump's going to win. You would say it, President Trump.
Michael Moore, the film
guy.
Okay.
He said that he sees this happening again. He sees us losing again. We're letting it slip away now, and that we need to pretend like we need to act like we're losing.
We need to act like we're losing?
If we're going to win, we need to know that we need to vote, and that it's...
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
I thought you meant, make the other side think that we think that we're losing.
It helps. It really does. If the other side, if Trump's side thinks they're winning, less of them will vote. It's proven that that's how it works. If they think they're going to win, so they're less likely to vote. That's kind of what happened to Hillary.
That actually makes sense, and it's a little... it's a lot different than politics, but years ago, my brother was on the best soccer team. They always won, and, they'd go to tournaments, and they'd face a team that they, had a bad record. They always lost, So they'd be like, oh, yeah, there's no way we're going to lose, blah, 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 blah. We're definitely going to win because they're statistically, worse players than us. Every time they thought that, went into a game with that head, they lost. They lost. The best team lost against the worst team because they just assumed they were going to win.
Yeah.
And didn't realize that, it could go the other way until it was too late. So, that's a soccer reference.
Sports are fantastic.
That I personally have in my life.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, sports are a great parallel for politics and life. Politics is a little bit like a sport.
A little bit.
It does require endurance. It requires a lot of work. It's kind of like your whole dedication, all your time.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is very little gets accomplished at the end. In both, yeah. They work their whole lives just to win some jewelry or to pass a couple laws that are pretty good, but nobody actually gives you any credit.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit, not quite as far as I did before. So Dick Cheney was our vice president, but
Darth Vader,
yeah. He was our vice president, but he was able to obtain powers that most presidents never did. What do you think about Dick Cheney?
Well, shit. What did he do that no president had done before? I think he expanded the power of the vice presidency to a point that it had never been before.
To the point where it had never been before.
He took a ceremonial position basically and turned it into something that was equal to the president.
Equal to the president, exactly. He was a vice president that had powers equal to the president. That
Bush let him. That's the thing.
He let him do it.
Yes, because Bush was kind of dumb.
Bush was really dumb.
Yeah, and he needed a smart person to handle the smart things that he didn't really care for.
He wanted Dick Cheney to help him win the race so that he could be president. But in the meantime, Dick Cheney used his manipulative powers to gain executive power and all that shit.
So there is something I will say. I respect the fact that when I look at Dick Cheney and I hear him talk and I see what he does and everything, take in who he is, I do believe that he thinks he's doing the right thing.
I think he thinks he's doing the right thing.
He's not pure evil so much as totally misguided in what he thinks is right.
I think he thinks he's doing the right thing for him. His right.
Well, he seems to care about the country, but he's all wrong. And same thing with John Bolton. It's kind of you at least know that they care.
He cared about the country, but he went about it wrong.
Totally, and a lot of people died.
A lot of people died because he wanted oil. He was an oil CEO before he was vice president.
Well, yeah, they wanted something. I don't know.
He was the CEO of an oil company.
The oil-rich region. They wanted access and control of the
what happened
Iraqi
after 9/11 is they knew that the terrorist groups were in Afghanistan.
Yeah, there was also some legitimate stuff going on.
There was some legitimate stuff, but the
volatility of the region was.
They went into Afghanistan and then they went into Iraq, and
right. Well, we were attacked by Afghanistan, I guess. They were hiding in Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was really no reason to go into Iraq at all, except for the oil for all his CEO buddies.
Yeah, I think history will look back pretty poorly on him and Bush.
Yes, but
not nearly as bad as Trump and Pence.
As horrible as that
Trump and
was,
Pence might be the worst.
Something happened with the economy and the oil when
gas prices went down. They went up.
Gas prices went up.
Yeah. They went down and up.
They went up to almost $5.
Yeah, higher than they've ever been before. I don't know if they've ever been that high again.
No, they've gone down since then. They kind of went up a little bit, but they're actually good prices.
Well, another thing too is 2008, directly after the Bush years, it was like the crest of the wave of the Obama movement and how much he won the election by, and how the young people came out and voted at higher numbers than ever before, and black people voted at higher numbers than ever before, and there was this feeling like we were turning a corner and becoming a better country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was a magical time, kind of.
It really was, and then
shit happened.
And then 4 years ago,
things got dark.
They were very hopeful.
Halfway through.
They were very hopeful, and then they got real dark real quick.
Right. Well, so I think it was there was a wave of optimism, right? And hope and change and all that. But then we had to deal with the actual crisis of the economy and the auto industry and all this other shit, the wars, the two wars that were going on still. So dealing with that was difficult. Took up a lot of time and energy, and the country didn't feel like everything got better because things were actually getting worse as they were getting. Things were going to get better, but first they had to get worse because we had just had a catastrophe.
Right, and something that
economic catastrophe, the housing bubble burst.
There was things that Bush signed at the very end of his presidency that didn't really go into effect until into Obama's presidency, and some people blamed him for the things that Bush had signed. Yeah. I don't have any examples. I just remember this kind of thing happening.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that I miss those times because
I do too.
It changed into the people that voted for Obama that were hopeful are now very cynical, and now they either don't vote or they vote as a middle finger to everyone around them. They thought Obama was a middle finger. They thought that would be a middle finger to and it was at the time, right? But then Obama became normal.
Right.
That Obama and the liberals are in charge now. So, now they're the ones I'm flipping off because they're the ones trying to fucking make me do things I don't want to do. They're the government. And it's like, no, actually, the government is the government. And it sucks. Like, if you want to not like it, that's fine. It totally sucks. But
also,
it's not the fucking Democrats' fault that it sucks, okay? It's at least both of them, or more one than the other. It's more the Republicans' fault that it sucks for you. Unless you're a rich person. They're very good for rich people, the Republicans.
Well, yeah.
But I don't understand why these poor people vote Republican. There's literally almost nothing for them.
Well, some of them just are
totally misinformed,
poorly educated, and it's almost like some of the people that are like super duper religious. It's because they were taught that way.
Yeah.
If somebody is super duper,
the American voting populace is a complicated bunch.
Right, because it has to do with what we see as facts and information and all that, and you decipher that and you make a decision. But there are some people that are so battered with somebody else's views growing up that like that's just they just see that as life. They see that as like,
but you know what?
Why doesn't everybody think this? Because that's how I was raised.
Right. Well, you know what? There is a lot of common ground that we can find if we try.
If we try.
Like we can both talk about the things that annoy us about the left. Like I'm on the left and I'll be the first one to admit that some of those motherfuckers are annoying. They're annoying as shit because if you don't agree with them on literally everything, they make it a problem.
Right, yeah.
And it's annoying as fuck. And it's like, we don't have to agree on everything, we don't have to not be friends just because I don't think that this person is a rapist. Like Biden's a rapist. I don't think he's a rapist, therefore I'm a rapist, right?
Sometimes agreeing to disagree on things is the best.
Yeah, that's the thing that blows my fucking mind is the leftists that think everyone but Bernie is a rapist. It's like you're fucking retarded. Grow up.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't think everybody's a rapist. I'm sure there's some popular people in power that...
Did we ever talk about the Biden thing, the Biden rape accusation? I mean, we did. We did talk about it.
If we did, I don't remember.
It's totally false. And it's completely ridiculous, and the evidence, it falls apart so quickly. The woman that levied the charges, right?
Yeah.
She said that he walked up to her in the Capitol building and stuck his finger up her thing. And that's just so crazy that it's like I wouldn't just believe that immediately unless there was some more corroborating evidence, because I'd imagine there'd be people around.
Right. And
and she keeps changing her story, and she's told she said that her father raped her, and that was determined to not be true. Said that a lot of people, she's a habitual liar, and she's somebody that is a grifter, and she's left a trail of people that left feeling cheated.
Yeah. She's also a very strange thing. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's some dudes out there that might try to do something like that, but for him to say that he went to do it and it actually happened, like, don't you think you would kind of scoot away before that actually...
This is another thing, too, is I could go on and on and on. She didn't act like this had ever happened. She loved Biden. She was pro-Biden. She was talking about him favorably up until a few years ago. And this is she said this happened 30 years ago, but she was advocating Biden as a champion of women.
Okay, this happened 30 years ago.
27 years, yep. But she had not said anything, or she had been praising Biden on her Twitter accounts and everything for many years, and then all of a sudden she changed her tune. It happened at the same time that she started posting pro-Russian things. Very, very strange pro-Russian things. That like Putin is sexy and we love, we should love Russians and blah, blah, blah.
I wonder how much money they gave her.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still pretty sure they gave Trump a few $1 billion. Like,
well, yeah, there's actually, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't honestly know if anything is true or not unless I see it with my own eyes and, can verify it.
I know what you mean.
But they said that the Russians were funneling money through the NRA. To the Republican campaign. To the
that doesn't
Trump
surprise
campaign.
me, man. I always suspected that Trump was doing what he was doing for money.
Yeah, we wanted to have G7 at his Mar-a-Lago. He wanted to have he has the Secret Service stay at his hotels.
I'm pretty sure somebody is paying Trump to destroy America or attempt.
That's Putin. Yeah, basically. And that's funny because it's shrouded in this America first bullshit. It's like, it's Russia first, it's rich people second, and it's everyone else third, and they don't give a shit about them.
That third part, everyone else, we're all just disposable slaves.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too, is once people start making a little bit of money, they start being like, oh, well, maybe maybe I should start golfing, and I want my taxes to be low, and I earned all this money, I deserve it, I'm part of the rich people club now, I'm going to be a Republican.
Even if I was a millionaire or a billionaire, I would never go golfing. I would never pay money to be bored.
Yeah. Well, golf is fine and all. I just feel like there's there's like a culture kind of like there's an expectation that like that want to be
a lot of higher ups
yeah
will invite somebody golfing and they'll talk about business while they're golfing.
Yeah.
I'm not
it's an
into
upper
that.
class type of sport.
Yeah.
And it sort of fosters a environment where it's encouraged to be Republican, be conservative, to care about lower taxes, and there's a lot of Trump supporters, fucking lot of them.
Golf is just, it's boring, and like, you hear like, oh yeah, I went golfing today, and it's like, dude, it was like 98 degrees out today. Yeah, I was sweating my balls off, blah 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 blah, but I got the ball in the hole, and it's like, it sounds like you paid money to have a horrible time and be excited about something that you shouldn't have been excited about, getting a ball in a fucking hole.
Yeah.
I shit in a toilet every day, man.
It's not quite the same, but yeah.
It's about the
Still
same.
difficult.
about the same.
Both are equally difficult, probably.
Yeah, sure. Shitting is less boring than golf. It's actually, sometimes it's exciting and humorous.
Yeah.
You get a little...
Well, yeah. I think we had a successful episode here.
Successful questionnaire.
Yeah, we had a successful little fucking show.
Is the brain a Mohan? My name is Brain Mountain.
I am Muhammad El-Darwish.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Marijuana.